Hello and welcome to News Center. I'm Parikshit Luthra. Israel has stepped up its attacks on Iran as both the long-standing enemies trade fire for the fifth straight day. What started off as Israel's surprise attack on Iran's nuclear facilities on Friday has since escalated into a full-fledged conflict. A state-run media outlet was bombed in Tehran during a live broadcast. The news anchor had to flee the studio midway the broadcast. The entire building was on fire. Multiple blasts rocked Tehran as Tel Aviv claimed to have air superiority over Iran. The Israel military claimed to have killed Ali Shadmani, Iran's top military commander who took charge just a few days ago after his predecessor was killed in Israeli strikes. Iran launched a new wave of missile attacks. Tel Aviv said that most of them were intercepted, but some made an impact. Iranian media claimed that preparations were underway for what they called the largest and most intense missile attack on Israeli soil. Meanwhile, panic-stricken citizens have started fleeing the Iranian capital hours after Donald Trump issued a evacuate Tehran call. Long queues of vehicles were seen moving westward from Tehran. US President Donald Trump's cut short his G7 visit. Speaking to reporters on board the Air Force One, Trump said that he was working on something better than a ceasefire and wanted a real end to the war, adding that Iran should give up entirely.
You just posted right before we took off that you're not leaving because of a ceasefire. Why are you? Can you elaborate?
Looking at better than ceasefire. We're not looking for a ceasefire. I didn't say I was looking for a ceasefire. That was Emmanuel, nice guy, but he doesn't get it right too often. But we're looking for better than a ceasefire. What specifically is better than a ceasefire? What are you looking for here? An end, a real end, not a ceasefire. An end. Is there something that will be permanent? Yeah, or giving up entirely. Is this okay too?
The escalating conflict has led to concerns surrounding the safety of Indians in Israel and Iran. There are about 4,000 Indian nationals in Iran. Close to 50% of them are students. The Indian embassy has said that Indian students in Tehran have been moved out of the city for safety reasons. Other Indian residents have also been advised to move out of Iran's capital at the earliest. The government said that representatives of the Indian High Commission have facilitated the evacuation of some Indians to the border with Armenia. A 24/7 control room has also been set up to answer calls from families. And the Indian embassy has also set up an emergency hotline in Tehran for Indian nationals and students who want to approach for help. Many of the Indian students in Iran are from Jammu and Kashmir, studying in medical universities. And we're also speaking to a number of students who are there. Many of them have been moved to safe locations in Armenia. Joining us right now to speak more about the escalation in Iran and Israel is Faizan Nabi. He's an Indian student at Iran's Kerman University of Medical Sciences. Thank you for joining us, Faizan. Could you give us a sense of what is the situation where you are right now over the last few days?
If you tell me about Kerman was relatively peaceful. Rather, it is relatively peaceful if you compare it with the cities like Tehran, Shiraz. But as I can say, the fear, the uncertainty is still the same. If you talk about, with a student in Tehran or you talk with a student in Kerman, the certainty, the traumatization, it is still same. Yes, Kerman, our university was functional till 2 days ago. It was functional. Our exams were scheduled for today. It was on 17th of June, which means today. It was our first paper of final exam. But all the exams have been cancelled by the university authorities. Its notes was received by us the other day. And all the exams as of now stand cancelled till mid of October.
How are you being evacuated? Give us a sense of the kind of assistance the Indian embassy is providing.
Okay. Since day one, since this tension has arisen, it was, I guess, Friday morning. Since day one, embassy has been playing a key role in our evacuation and ensuring our safety. And they have issued the helpline numbers, emergency numbers on the day one itself. For now, the students who were in war zone areas like it was Tehran, Urmia, Shiraz, they have been relocated to safer places. And regarding Urmia, I just heard they have been taken to Armenia through the Armenia border because it was the nearest border to them. For students of universities which are located in Tehran, they have been taken to Qom. It's a religious place in northern Iran. They have been taken there for now. Maybe after 1 or 2 days, their relocation route or their evacuation route will be planned. For us students in Kerman, we have been said to pack our luggage and we may be relocated by tonight.
And what's the biggest fear of the students in the region, considering the very volatile situation? Can you give us a sense of the uncertainty and the fears the students are facing?
We could, in a first day, we could think this will die down in an hour or two, but to our surprise, it escalated so much that our parents started going to a press colony in Kashmir. They started talking to media. They are very frightful. They are very horrified. And that, I guess, that makes us horrified the most, because we get 10, 12 calls a day from our parents from home to ensure that we are safe, we have eaten anything. I guess that's the most fear that we are facing right now.
All right. Thank you, Faizan, for joining us. Let's also get in former Foreign Secretary Shashank. He's joining us exclusively on CNBC-TV18. Ambassador Shashank, considering that students have to be evacuated by road and the distance to Armenia from Tehran is about 1,000 kilometers by road, Turkmenistan would be another 700 or 750 kilometers. How difficult would this evacuation operation be for the Indian embassy?
Well, obviously, the initiative will have to be taken by the Indian embassy in Tehran, and also they will have to keep in touch with the other embassies, how they are evacuating their nationals, and the Iranian government as to what kind of routes they are facilitating and providing security cover to our people. Generally, I find that when Armenia is a place for many of the students who are living closer to Armenia, they are being sent there. Others are being sent to places which are considered safe for the time being, like Qom. So perhaps they will be sent to these kind of places which do not have any military intelligence or nuclear kind of targets, so that they can gradually be evacuated from there. Right now, the warning seems to be more for Tehran and for other places which are being attacked by the Israeli defense forces.
So what is at stake for India? If you had to speak about the presence of the Indian diaspora in Iran, the presence of Indian businesses, Indian industry, some of the top corporate players in Iran, what would be our presence like?
I don't know exactly how many Indian businesses are still there. The embassy has perhaps said there are about 10,000 Indian nationals, including about 4,000 students. And so they are keeping in touch with them, trying to establish contact with as many Indians as possible. And I'm sure that in such situations, the Indian residents also form their own associations and representatives who can then keep in touch with the Indian missions. And I think the difficult situation is there. I'm quite sure that the Ministry of External Affairs and the embassy in Tehran would be doing its very best to ensure the safe evacuation for the Indian nationals. I think this place, for the time being, I think seems to be number one place seems to be Armenia, because then the evacuation can be undertaken from Armenia. I'm quite sure that other neighboring countries are also being spoken to see which will provide the safest route, because many of the airspaces in that area have been closed down. So one should not think in terms of moving to places which are rather complicated, which are difficult at this stage.
Right. We would also like to ask you about what's at stake for India if things deteriorate between Iran and Israel. Now, if Israel attacks further and the US, as it is being speculated, that they have this option of using bunker buster bombs to eliminate those underground nuclear facilities in Iran. If things come to that, what is going to be the impact on India, India's economy, and geopolitically, how are we going to be hit?
Well, so far it appeared that President Trump and President Putin were talking about bringing out some kind of an end to the conflict between Israel and Iran seemed to be sending some messages through the intermediaries like Qatar and Oman that they would be quite willing to have a negotiated settlement, but they would like that their attack on Israel should be the final one because Israel started the attack, so they should be the ones to finish it off. Now, that was the situation till President Trump recently announced to the reporters that he would like to achieve something better than ceasefire. And he felt that the French president had got it all wrong, that the Americans would be trying only for ceasefire. Actually, he said that we would try something better than that. Now, whether that better thing would be accepted by the Iranians in the present stage, that is something difficult to see. Israelis have been asking for a long time the Americans to either give them or to directly attack with the bunker buster bombs, heavy bombs. Americans had not yet agreed. So I do not know whether it is something to persuade Iran to agree to what the Israelis are, because Israelis are afraid of their existence itself. Because IAEA apparently had come up with some reports recently that some enrichment of uranium had been done up to 80% and a few samples perhaps up to 90%. So therefore, knowing that even they, for example, the anchor at the Tehran broadcast studio was saying that death to Israel, death to Israel. So that has been the established position of Iranian leadership so far, that as soon as they get the nuclear bomb, they would like to destroy Israel. So Israel cannot wait for that kind of situation to arise. And I think that is the reason why they have decided to take preemptive action and make sure that Iran does not reach that stage of having a nuclear bomb. People are, of course, they are constantly bringing out the old interview given by Netanyahu, where he had said that these things cannot go together, terrorism-related approach and a nuclear bomb.
Ambassador, when it comes to balancing our relations, now we have very close diplomatic relations with Israel and many of our defense platforms. There is technology sharing there. Iran too, we have historical ties which have got downgraded over the years because of sanctions on Iran. What kind of balancing act does India need to play right now?
I think the first priority at this stage is not balancing, but it is to make sure the security of the Indian nationals in Iran and Israel, and if any other country comes into this conflict zone, to make sure of the security of the Indian nationals. So that becomes the first priority. Second one would be about the likelihood that, as the Iranians have said, that they might close the Gulf of Hormuz. So that's about 21-kilometer wide Gulf. If that gets stopped, then I think the supply of oil and gas to India would be affected severely. So that will have a great impact in the short run. Of course, long term, perhaps India will have to come up with some alternative sources of supply and alternative routes. The other thing is that, yes, we have a civilization relationship. Then we had set up a strategic partnership trilaterally with Iran and Afghanistan. And USA had given special exemption to this trilateral partnership for use of Chabahar port. So India would very much like that this Chabahar port should continue to function, that we should have the other kind of linkages through to Central Asia, to Eastern Europe, through Iran. So we hope that whatever is taking place will not destroy the infrastructure which Iran and India have been using together. Now, as far as the directly targets of the Iranians are concerned, or what the Americans are saying, I think the approach has to be based on what the Iranians think would be their approach, and we have to wait for their decision in this regard.
Right. My final question, sir, if you can briefly tell us about Iran's ability to hit back. Now, Western experts and Israelis are saying that Iran's ability to hit back has been severely minimized and they can't continue fighting. Would you agree with that estimate and that prediction, or you believe that Iran does have an ability to use very advanced and serious weapons right now?
Well, I don't think Iran has directly any more serious weapons. It has been using its ballistic missiles, which are of very good quality. And I have a feeling that perhaps the Pakistanis wanted access to those ballistic missiles for use against India. And in return, they might have offered the nuclear control to Iran in case the battle begins toward the nuclear arena. But I feel that Iran has normally used its proxies in the region, whether the Hamas, the Houthis, or the Hezbollahs, and that is what Israel has now decided that, well, enough is enough. Now they would like to make sure that since Iran is now very close to the nuclear threshold, so they should now try to take the action so that they will not be troubled anymore. And hopefully, all the Arab countries who are directly in that zone, they would come up together to bring about peaceful relations and some kind of a closure of this conflict between Iran and Israel. And I think USA and Russia should also be consulting each other, because anything going beyond a limit will hurt everybody's interest. India would get affected, but I'm quite sure that many of these other countries which are closer to the zone of conflict and the major power, the big powers, also will get affected.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ambassador Shashank, for joining us with that view. That was the former Foreign Secretary Shashank speaking about Israel-Iran tensions and how this could impact India. Time for us to take a break. But